Good evening, welcome to Look North and welcome to Wakefield, a city with a new MP. Simon Lightwood has taken the seat for the Labour Party. There's been national attention around this by-election, so how will he use the spotlight to benefit people here?
First day in the job is just getting my office sorted so that people can get in touch, because we've got a huge backlog of cases where people are desperate for help from an MP. Unfortunately, I've had nobody over the last year.
The cost of living is high on his agenda, but what do the people of Wakefield want his priorities to be?
Trade-wise, they need to do something about the businesses, the small businesses, because a lot of shops are empty. I don't know what they can do.
I'm sure there was only a 30% turnout, wasn't there? Which shows you how people are just a bit despondent now.
We'll ask what Labour's victory here means for those red wall seats across our region.
And I'm here outside Ellen Road, where England women are about to take on the Netherlands women in one of the key warm-up matches to the Women's European Championships this summer.
Hello, we brought our programme to Wakefield tonight as the new Labour MP, Simon Lightwood, was elected in the early hours of this morning to represent the people here. Let me just explain to you where we are. Behind me is County Hall. Over that way is the city centre with that gorgeous cathedral, and that way, that's the college I used to go to. I'm a Wakefield girl, and for as long as I and probably most people here can remember, Wakefield has always had a Labour MP. That was until 2019. Following the Brexit vote, the Conservative Party broke down that so-called red wall, taking the seat in Parliament. In April this year, the new Conservative MP, Imran Ahmed Khan, was convicted of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy and jailed for 18 months. That is what's triggered this by-election. Our political editor, James Vincent, has been across the story. He was at the count last night. James, you're looking surprisingly fresh.
Evening, Amy. I'm tired. Yeah.
I'm sure you are. Now, James, for the reasons we've just talked about, this by-election was expected to be won by the Labour Party, wasn't it? But in terms of numbers, was it better than expected?
Yeah, I think that very much depends on who you talk to and what colour rosette they were wearing last night. Labour will say the numbers are right for them to be able to say people are backing Keir Starmer and that they think they can take back some of these seats that they lost in 2019. If you're a Conservative, they're going to say this is a by-election called for very specific reasons, and you can't read much into it when it comes to a general election. And I said before this election, this might be not about who wins the election, but who loses it. Now, if Labour had lost the election, there'd have been serious questions about Keir Starmer's leadership and the selection of their candidate in Wakefield, but the Conservatives lost, and now there are those serious questions for Boris Johnson and his future as leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister.
Well, I was in Oxford today at the market. Keir Starmer was there as well, leader of the Labour Party. Here's what he had to say.
What happened here in Wakefield was people exercising their judgment on this Conservative government and voting no confidence. But for me and the Labour Party, this is very important, because for 2 years we've been turning our party around and we were able to show the voters in Wakefield that we are a confident party, we're a united party, and that we are laser-like focused on the issues that affect working people in Wakefield.
Now, the Conservatives will be clinging to that 39% turnout. They think that some of their voters didn't turn out, and I liken it a bit to football fans. So in Wakefield, a lot of people are Leeds United fans. They might hate me for saying that, but some of them are. And they'll always say they're Leeds United fans, but if the football's not very good, they might not pay their ticket to go and actually watch the games. And the Conservatives are hoping that their natural supporters maybe didn't turn out to vote yesterday, maybe as a protest against Boris Johnson or the situation that the country finds itself in. What do football clubs do if the games aren't going very well? They get rid of their manager.
Good analogy there, James, thank you. So, who is Simon Lightwood? What do we really know about him? I've been asking him some very important questions. Here's a fact file. Originally from South Shields, he moved to Wakefield for uni and now lives in the Calder Valley with his partner and 2 children. Before running in the election, he was the head of communications at the NHS in Calderdale. He likes theatre, hates cheese, and on a day off, his favourite place to visit is the Yorkshire Sculpture Park. So what are the new challenges for the MP? Well, for any new MP, there's lots of challenges, aren't there? The cost of living, that's high on the agenda for many of us. But here in Wakefield, there are jobs. There's also regeneration. Poverty's a real issue here. James Vincent has been finding out more.
I think a real challenge for a new MP would be is they need to connect with local people. They need to find out real people in places like this.
Bernie knows Lupsit really well. She's from here and she runs the St George's Community Centre.
Yeah, so the walk-in wardrobe is exactly what it says. It's a wardrobe that you can walk into. We do focus on school uniforms.
She loves the fact that they're helping people, but hates the fact that they have to.
Since January, we've given out 450 food parcels. It's a sad reflection on a country like ours that in this day and age we have to be supporting people with food. And it's borderline criminal, I would say.
On average, 24% of children in Wakefield live in poverty.
Some of the statistics really were shocking. We do have some families living in fourth generation poverty.
One of the groups helping to fund people like Bernie says that problem's got to be high on any MP's to-do list.
It's so worrying when we think about where that figure is going to end up later on this year. In the 21st century, in one of the richest countries of the world, that is a really sad state of affairs to be in.
I think the key to improving the economy of Wakefield is getting better paid work in. I mean, one of the things to be said about the politics, I think, is it very much helps to have become a marginal seat because all of a sudden we've seen this unprecedented interest in Wakefield, and the trick for the new MP is to turn that into actual action.
Back at the pantry, Bernie's got a challenge for Wakefield's new MP. Of course, come and visit, volunteer if you like, but help them close down.
If we could have a vision for some of our services like the food bank and the food pantry and the walk-in wardrobe, it would be that our vision is to actually see it close and that it's not needed.
Simon Robert Lightwood is duly elected for the Wakefield constituency.
We might have a winner and the campaign might have been hard work, but the hard graft starts now. James Vincent, BBC Look North, Wakefield.
So those are some of the real issues. And as James said, the work really starts now. Let's hear from the man himself, shall we? The new MP for the Labour Party, Simon Lightwood, was elected with nearly a 5,000 majority. I asked him earlier if he was happy with that.
I wasn't focused on numbers, just focused on getting over that finish line and making sure we return a Labour MP. So I'm just thrilled to be returned and honoured to take up that position.
There was criticism by the Labour Party executive that you weren't local enough. How much do you really know about what the people of Wakefield want?
Listen, I moved here originally to study at Bretton Hall College in West Bretton, and I lived here for 10 years. I bought my first house in Wakefield. I met my partner here in Wakefield. I've been campaigning here for over 20 years. That's 5 general elections. I really know Wakefield people and the issues that matter to people here.
Well, I'm Wakefield born and bred, and it used to be a thriving market area. It's now low-paid jobs, boarded-up shops. How do you make Wakefield a place that people are proud to live and want to come and visit?
First of all, I want to make sure we shout about that all is good in Wakefield. It's a fantastic place. But obviously we need a strong voice in Parliament to really attract that inward investment into the area and make sure that we deliver things like Labour's pledge to reduce small business rates so that it's easier for shops to survive during these difficult economic times.
What's the priority first day in the job?
First day in the job is just getting my office sorted so that people can get in touch, because we've got a huge backlog of cases where people are desperate for help from an MP. Unfortunately, I've had nobody over the last year.
Pay is a reason that we've seen bus workers, rail workers walk out. Do you support that strike action in Wakefield?
Listen, nobody wants to see strike, not the people of Wakefield, and certainly not the bus drivers, the train drivers as well. This is about making sure people have enough money to not just survive. Do
you support the strike action then? Because we've seen some other local MPs on picket lines. Do you support what's happening?
I support people getting the salary that they need in order to live, not just survive. And what I can do now as the MP for Wakefield is work with people like Tracy Braben and with the employees to try and get the solution that we need so we can break that deadlock.
Will you be joining the picket lines tomorrow?
I'm going to be very busy getting ready to go down to London to get on with my job as the Wakefield MP.
Cost of living is a huge issue here in Wakefield, some of the lowest paid, and we've got 24% of children here in poverty. What are you going to do about that?
I'm going to meet very urgently, I think, with the council, with all partners, to look at what we can do right now to help with the child poverty issue, because the numbers are seriously high, and I'm very, very concerned about that. I can't wait for the government to come and step in and do something right now. We need to be working together with the third sector, with the council, with local businesses, with the voluntary sector to make sure we're doing everything we can here in Wakefield to mitigate some of that effect.
It's easy to blame the government for all the failings of Wakefield, but actually it's a Labour council. It was a Labour-held seat for 87 years. It can't all be blamed on the government, can it?
Listen, we've had 12 years of a Conservative government, and the local government funding has been absolutely decimated. So I think it's a fair point to say that lots of this comes back to the decisions made in central government and the Tory cuts to budgets.
Wakefield is absolutely in the spotlight. It's got unprecedented attention. How do you make sure you use that to the advantage of the people here?
I want to make sure that we're selling Wakefield as well. We've got some fantastic surroundings. It's a great place to work, to live and to visit. So I want to make sure that we're really putting a spotlight on all the cultural gems that we have in the area as well.
Simon Lightwood, new MP for Wakefield. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we've just been hearing there, the people of Wakefield haven't had any representation in Westminster for over a year. So what do they think of their new MP? Ian White has been out again in Ossett Market and in Wakefield Centre to gauge reaction.
Wakefield's woken up to a new MP, and in the market town of Ossett, it wasn't hard to get an opinion.
What do you think about Labour getting back in?
I think it's good. I don't know much about politics, but what I do know, I think it's good.
I voted for Conservatives last time, and I voted this time for them, because when Labour have gotten in the past, you could put a red rosette on anything and it will get in.
Brilliant! Yeah, they deserve it. Labour's always fought working class.
Yeah. Keir Starmer, all he can do is criticise. He doesn't say, well, he's done quite a good job, but I can do better by doing it this way.
So what do people hope Labour's Simon Lightwood will do for the area?
Wakefield doesn't need regenerating, it needs policing.
It does.
That's what I think. And if he can do that, that would be great.
We'll get rid of old thugs off the street. There's loads of them knocking around here.
As Wakefield takes a new direction, the city centre has seen better days, and people want some positive action from their new MP.
Well, it couldn't be any worse than the last one. It's very, very embarrassing for the whole town. Just hope this guy's... He's not got any things in the cupboard, you know what I mean?
We didn't vote. I'm sure there was only a 30% turnout, wasn't there? Which shows you how people are just a bit despondent now.
Trade-wise, they need to do something about the businesses, the small businesses, because a lot of shops are empty. I don't know what they can do about the rates, something like that.
They give Conservatives an opportunity, didn't they? Nothing really changed. But if you look around Wakefield now, it looks derelict.
There's a clear disconnect. It feels like what's happening higher up isn't really...
Absolutely.
It's not really reflective of what the public opinion is.
Well, I hope he'll come to Wakefield occasionally, as opposed to living in London and things like that, like they do normally. They just come out once a year, don't they?
MPs know now more than ever that ignoring the views of their constituents is not wise, and a new MP here has a lot to prove. Ian White, BBC Look North, Ossett.
So that's what some of the people of Wakefield think. James, I was brought up 2 miles that way, worked in my mum and dad's market business growing up. Many people will tell you, like lots of cities, things have really changed. There's some challenges, isn't there, ahead for this new MP?
Yeah, there's some huge challenges, not just in places like Wakefield, but other parts of Yorkshire as well. We heard those stats about children in poverty earlier in the programme, 24%. There's a lot of work to be done. Obviously, there's work to be done as a local MP, but of course, as an opposition MP, there's only a limit to how much you can get done. And that's then the challenge now for the Labour Party, because they want to get into power. They think that is the springboard Wakefield were with the springboard for them to do that. And what's really interesting, we've done a bit of number crunching. I can't say I've done it, rubbish at numbers, but we've looked at the swing from the swing from the Conservatives to the Labour Party in Wakefield was 12%. And if that swing is replicated in other parties, let's have a quick look at South Yorkshire and the North Midlands. That would mean at the next general election that Labour would take back Penistone and Stocksbridge, Rother Valley and Don Valley. They wouldn't do quite enough to get Bassetlaw back from the Conservatives, but elsewhere in West Yorkshire they'd probably win back places like Dewsbury and Colne Valley and also Keighley, and that means that there are some relatively worried Conservative MPs out there. Some think Boris Johnson is the man for the job still. Brendan Clark-Smith told the BBC that the Bassetlaw MP that Boris Johnson was the man for the job still, but Robbie Moore, the Keighley MP, one of those seats that potentially could change, this is what he told us earlier today. He already had voted in no confidence of Boris Johnson.
I think there needs to be some serious conversations at number 10 about where we go from here.
But is that a yes or a no?
Well, I've made my vote clear 2 weeks ago, very clearly, at the ballot box in Westminster.
And he still doesn't have your confidence?
Nothing has changed, in my view, since that vote.
So there are, still some MPs that aren't happy with Boris Johnson, those that may have not changed their mind, like Robbie Moore, and there'll be others on the other side that haven't changed their mind and still back Boris Johnson. But there will be some in some of those more marginal seats, like Don Valley, Rother Valley, that have got some big choices to be made. Because, of course, Boris Johnson, they backed him because they thought that he'd got them the job. They backed him in part because Boris Johnson was seen as an election winner. In Wakefield today, Boris Johnson isn't an election winner. So how does that change their perception of their leader?
Ready for a sleep?
Oh, yeah.
I'll hold you there a minute. I haven't decided yet if I'll let you go, James. Thank you. Now, if you're getting sick of us talking politics, you'll be pleased to hear we are going to talk about something else, because here's what's coming up later in the programme. England's women warm up for the Euros in Yorkshire. We'll be live at Ellen Road. But before that, new figures show that COVID infection rates are continuing to rise across our region. Hospitalisation rates are also up as well. Now, although serious illness is now rarer than it was, public health officials are warning people, if they haven't done so already, to go and get the jab. Kathy Killick reports.
Who's next, please? I am. Do you want to come through? Thank you.
It was Ellen Poulter's 75th birthday last week, making her eligible for a booster vaccine. So she's wasted no time in getting booked in for her jab, and it could prove, if not her best birthday present, then certainly her wisest. COVID rates in Yorkshire are on the rise again. A month ago, 1 in 65 of us had COVID, 84,000 cases. The latest figures from the Office of National Statistics now show 1 in 35 of us has the virus. That's over 141,000 cases. Cause, say health experts, for some concern.
COVID rates are rising in our region. At the moment, they're around 2%. So that's comparable with where they were in January 2021. So as you can see, that is quite concerning. So there's 3 key things that you can do. If you haven't had any COVID vaccinations yet, then you can go and get your vaccination. If you've been offered a booster and you haven't yet had a chance to take that up, then take that up. If you've got COVID symptoms, then just please avoid mixing with other people. Just use kindness and common sense.
So what's causing the increase? Well, more social mixing, particularly over the Jubilee holiday, is one factor. And there are now 2 new Omicron variants called BA4 and BA5 that are fast spreading and can reinfect people even if they've recently had COVID.
Everybody wants to forget COVID, let's face it, and get on with our lives. However, we still need to be mindful that it is still out there. We still need to be taking care. We're still using in clinical areas face masks and social distancing. So we are very still much aware that it is out there and people still need to take care.
Vaccinations have played a vital role in taking the sting out of COVID, but these rising rates of infection show the virus isn't dead and buried. Protection is still important both for the vulnerable and for the health service. That's why doctors and nurses continue to offer and urge people to get their vaccinations as a sensible precaution against serious illness. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Now, the Women's Euros start in less than 2 weeks, and tonight the Lionesses take on the Netherlands at a friendly at Ellen Road in Leeds. Two of the Euros venues are actually right here in Yorkshire, Sheffield's Bramall Lane and Rotherham's New York Stadium. Actually, that will host 8 matches, including a quarter and a semi-final. Paul Ogden is live for us pitch side at Ellen Road tonight. Oggy, it's all yours.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, the anticipation about the Women's European Championships is going to really ramp up from this point onwards. And it'll be fuelled by the sight of the creme de la creme of international women's football here at Ellen Road tonight. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll talk about that more in a second. Once the team does run out, one of the England-Yorkshire contingent to look out for will be defender Rachel Daly. If selected, she'll be earning a 50th England cap tonight, which is quite something here because she's a former Leeds United player who's never actually played at Ellen Road before.
Leeds have always been a great club, a great club for me to be a part of as a young age group. Growing up there, I don't think I would be the player I am today if I didn't have the experience at Leeds. So yeah, I think it holds obviously a massive place in my heart. All my family are from Yorkshire, so anytime there's a game in Yorkshire, I'm always excited.
That'll be quite something if Rachel Daly does get selected. She is from a Leeds United supporting family and somebody with a very high level of vested interest in what's going on here tonight and in the footprint of the Euros here in Yorkshire is the next voice you're going to hear, which is Hannah Simpson, West Riding County FA Chief Executive. Welcome.
Thank you.
You can sense the anticipation here, can't you, Hannah?
Oh, it's incredible. The drive up here, there's people with banners, there's chanting. It's absolutely huge. You can see the guys behind us now. It's just gaining momentum. You can feel it prior to kick-off. It's just such a good atmosphere.
Do you know what I really love? The fact that the level of busyness here, the numbers are the same as on any Leeds United home match day around the Billy Bremner statue. But the friendliness levels, the accessibility of it all is a little better for people coming for the first time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I brought my daughter down. She's had her face painted with the lions. There's scarves everywhere. There's kids with the England bucket hats on. There's chanting. It feels like a very family-orientated atmosphere. I agree with you. It seems very bespoke to a women's game.
In terms of players and recruitment of players and the formation of new girls' teams, women's teams here in Yorkshire, Hannah, how much work is there still to do?
There's always still work to do. You can see by some of the stuff that's happened tonight. I mean, Killing All Nomads, for example, that Rachel came from, huge numbers that are coming down today. One of our grassroots clubs have brought 500 spectators tonight, which is huge. So you can see that there's an appetite for it across West Yorkshire. And there's loads of programmes that kids are getting involved in, Wildcats, Squad Girls. There's even the Women's Beginner League. So we talk about kids enjoying the game. There's huge amounts of adult females tonight that are just buzzing for the atmosphere.
Yeah, fantastic. I just wonder whether England against the Netherlands might end up being a semi-final at Bramall Lane. If you look right through the chain of possible results in the tournament that's coming up in the Euros, that is possible.
Oh, absolutely possible. And I think the squad that we've got, we are well positioned to do very, very well in this tournament. I think if you were to ask the squad themselves, they want a very credible start to the tournament. But I think we could do very, very well. And being on Yorkshire soil, I'm very, very excited.
There'll probably be quite a lot of West Yorkshire fans of men and women's teams who are disappointed there isn't a tournament match here at Ellen Road. But what a chance for Rotherham United and Sheffield United to put their foot on the international football map.
Absolutely, and I think we've got the transport networks are so good. I think you'll see so many people from West Yorkshire making that trip down there as well. So I don't think there'll be anybody that will miss out. And good on Sheffield. Let's try and get the buzz that we've got here and take it down the M1.
I hope this is not the last time we speak to you about the subject of women's football. Hannah, thanks for joining us on Look North tonight. That tournament, the Euros, is less than 2 weeks away.
Oggy, thank you. Now, over 100,000 people are expected in Scarborough tomorrow for Armed Forces Day. The Royal Navy ship HMS Westminster is already in position just a mile off the Scarborough coast, ready for the flag to be raised and celebrations to begin. There'll be parades, music and flypasts in a busy day of events.
So what they'll see is the ship dressed overall with her flags flying. Will provide a backdrop, particularly to the air display, but also to the events ashore for the entirety of the weekend. I'm a proud Yorkshireman. I have very fond memories of Scarborough from my younger years, particularly with family and playing cricket here over the years. So, as I say, absolutely delighted and a genuine privilege to be here and to showcase Westminster and the wider Royal Navy in front of the general public.
James, I'm not going to let him sleep just yet. James, huge political focus, media focus on Wakefield. What happens next?
Well, I need to find a different junction of the M1 because I've been basically coming off at 39 for the past 5 weeks, so I might make it to Leeds at some point. Yeah, that's been a huge focus, hasn't it, this election, both from our point of view in Wakefield, West Yorkshire, but the national focus. What's next is the futures of those two leaderships, really, nationally. Can Keir Starmer capitalise on what Labour have done here? Will Boris Johnson face more opposition to his leadership? Of course, there's that standards committee that he's got to face at some stage, and maybe more calls for him to step down. And I know this might make you grumpy with me, and lots of people watching might be grumpy with this, but there may be a general election some people are predicting in a couple of months' time. I'll leave it like that.
I'll leave our viewers to decide on that one. James, thank you. Go get some kip. OK, let's find out what the weather's got in store. Here's Jen Bartram.
Hello there, good evening. Well, it's been a mixed sort of a day today. It started off very warm and quite clammy, but we have seen some heavy showers. Over the course of the weekend, a bit of a change on the way. It is going to be turning cooler and breezier. There will be some sunny spells, but some further heavy showers to come. All down to this area of low pressure just across Ireland at the moment. That's going to be bringing some of these heavy showers and some fairly brisk winds as well through Saturday and through Sunday. Now, today we have a Met Office yellow warning in force still. That's for thunderstorms, some quite heavy downpours to come. That warning is in force until 10 o'clock tonight. Lots of those thunderstorms actually already gone through. I think over the next few hours it will be a little bit drier. That's the radar picture that you can see where we've had some of those thundery downpours. But into this evening and overnight, some clear spells, a bit of cloud coming and going before another batch of rain moves through. By the time we get to dawn on Saturday morning, though, it is looking drier with temperatures only down to 12 or 13 degrees. So a very mild start to the day for Saturday. We'll have a lot of sunshine first thing, but it won't be long before the cloud starts to build, and then we'll see some further showers through tomorrow afternoon. Once again, where we get them, those showers could be heavy and thundery, but many places will stay dry and temperatures a little bit cooler, 20 or 21 degrees Celsius. Looking further ahead into Sunday, it's going to be a slightly cooler day. There will be some sunny spells, quite a lot of cloud, and it's going to be turning a fair bit breezier as well. Bye for now.
As we close the programme tonight, I have some very sad news to share with you all. Our much-loved friend and colleague, Harry Gration, very suddenly died today. We all up north are absolutely devastated to give you this news. Next week, we will take our time to pay tribute to Harry properly. That's what he deserves. But tonight, our hearts go out to Harry's wife, Helen, their children, and all of Harry's friends. I know that you will want to pay tribute to him as well. Good night. Richard Warwick was given infected blood products while he was...